Auditions are our job. If we get the job, it's gravy. How lovely. But our job is to audition. Commit to it, go to it, be there on time, do your job. From that, you're going to meet maybe a casting director you haven't met before, and they're like, wow, she's not right for this, but it was nice to meet her, because people don't have time for generals anymore. There's so few auditions. I know actors really need each audition. They need to have the opportunity. There's one casting place in town who has a sign on the door that says, "You are one of 3,000 actors that was submitted for this job. 100 of you are called in. One of you will get the job. Be grateful you're here." And it's true. It is true. You get the audition, and that's a win. You have to think of that as a win. Even if you don't get the job, you got the audition. We're all very supportive of each other. But it used to be the waiting room was toxic, because there's the put downs, and well, I've done this. Oh, did you go out on that job? Oh, I got it. And stuff like that. That right before you go in it's hard. It's hard to concentrate. So I try and not do too much. Sometimes you have to walk outside or go to the bathroom or something, so it's not too intense with other people in the waiting room. I try and take a breath before I go in. I try and relax, take a couple of deep breaths, and then listen. Just try and listen to the direction. Sometimes I'll go over the scene again just to plant it in my head. And sometimes before I go to sleep the night after the audition, I'll do it again, just in case, theatrically it comes up again, or I get a callback or something. I've just kind of implanted it into my head, what maybe I did, right or wrong. And sometimes it'll be something silly. You got a callback for some stupid little, a look, a double take, just something that made it a little different. So I'll try and remember that, so that if I get a callback, it's not necessarily I want to do it the same, but I know there's something that got me in that room again. I had one incident. It was very funny, because we're lined up in the room and there's about 5 of us, and they were telling the director and the agency, okay, Joan is number 72, so-and-so's number 7, and Cinda's 86. And all I said was, don't 86 me. Please don't 86 me. Now, if I had been 79, I would not, and I got a call back. Eventually I got the job, not because I was number 86. It just was a moment. It was a moment that they remembered me. And that'll never happen again. That was one of those, one of those flukes. And sometimes things can be, it's so random. You have to be prepared. You have to be a good actress. You have to have all your tools, but it's so random. And having worked in the backside of the business, I know that. Sometimes you'll get a script, and it's the first season of a show that hasn't been shown yet. So you don't even know if it's a drama or a comedy or you don't know. So the lines read one way. I'll go online and try and figure out any information I can on the director, on if they've got anything about the show out there. Maybe they've got a clip or something, to just kind of try and see the format, the feel of the show. But then I try and keep it open enough so when I go in, I've got my idea of what I think it is, but I really enjoy being adaptable. So when they say, try it this way or try it that way or try it a different way, I've already got something in my head ready to go. My favorite thing of auditioning is when they give me direction or redirect. That makes me happy. Sometimes you forget what audition you're there for when there's several going. You're like, oh, wait, what am I here for? And I looked around. Usually you can tell which one you're here for, even if you don't remember what the product was. You look around, I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm not ready for any of these. And I looked at the thing and I'm like, no, I'm supposed to be here on this. So I popped my head in Danny's office and I said, Danny, are you sure you want me in on this? Because I don't look like anybody. He said, you're my outside the box, Cinda. You're the one who, it just might work. I'm not saying it will, but I need a good actress to come in and so I get that. I get that a lot. Sometimes where I'm not quite right, and I just have to remember, if they change their mind a little bit, if the casting director has brought me in, it's for a reason, and maybe I can change their mind and they'll go, yeah, let's go with that. I was on a set, and I was playing a teacher, and we were at like UCLA in their huge lecture hall. A lot of extras. The series regulars were like in the middle of this huge hall, and they're whispering to each other. We did it a couple times, and I was not on my cue. I couldn't hear them. And we kept doing it, and I'm like trying to read their lips, and they're like, turning sideways, they're being real, and I couldn't hear them. And the director started getting pissed. And I should have just said, I'm so sorry, I can't hear. But I didn't. I didn't want to make it like, so I just kept trying and trying and trying. And then we finally got it or whatever, and he just walked off, okay, next, on to the next. And usually I like to thank the director, or you have at least a moment to say, thank, and he just walked off, and I'm like, well, I screwed that one up. But I should have said something. I should have just said, I'm so sorry, but I can't hear. Or can someone give me like some kind of a cue or a something? And I didn't. And that haunts me. Parents, the way that they treat their kids in the waiting room, the way they tell them how to read a line, they're not actors usually. And they're pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, and they're giving them line readings, and they do a disservice to the kids. I see that more than anything. And when I was running camera, if kid was really bad, I would say to them, you were really, really good, and take them out to the parents and say, hey, they did a good job. Up and coming actors, the only way in my day people could learn the trade, there weren't really on-camera classes and stuff. It was theater. We did theater. We learned theater. We learned how to act in front of an audience. Then when you got on a show, a 3-camera show or something like that, you knew how to do it. You were very comfortable doing that. Today, the kids can do their own content. They can do non-union, and I'm a big union actress. But until you get your union card, do as much non-union as you can. Get time on sets. Figure out how it is. Be kind to all of the crew. Learn the trade. Stand back. Watch what goes on. See how the cameramen, what their framing is, what they're doing, so that you kind of get an idea of when you're there. You don't have to, say, am I in frame, or where's my mark, or whatever, So being a non-union person is okay, because you can train and learn your craft nowadays. I'd been waiting for over an hour for an audition. A lot of people, it was just like an all back, but it was a first call. Patiently waiting. I get in the room, and the first thing they say is to one person in the room, check the color. And I said, I'm just going to stop you right here. Thank you very much for seeing me. If I'm not right, please tell me. I work in casting, and I know that check the color means that you're not putting me on tape. Let's not go through the rigmarole. If I'm not right, I get it. And thank you. And they went, what are you talking about? And I went, we said check the color. And they said, it's a little off. We're going to check the color. And I'm like, well, I fucked that one up.